The train headed for Sunset City will be departing soon.
Welcome, everyone, to Sunset City. I was going to say this is a podcast for the classic and modern age, but then my brain farted halfway through. But what I can tell you that I haven't forgot of is with me, I do have Channel Pup.
Hello.
And I also have an incredibly statically microphone situation known as Game Apologist and Nick.
Yes, I am recording from deep space as I enter Eggman's Interstellar Amusement Park in HD.
I can't wait to go through block platforming again in HD. Never done it on Dolphin before. Anyway, so we got a couple of things. This is going to be one of two episodes that are coming out this week. This one we're getting out rather quickly because we do have tomorrow the announcement from Sega. We're going to be getting a little live stream from the little live presentation letting us know what things are going to be happening going forward. But we did get a little bit of news just a couple of hours ago today that we wanted to talk about first, and that is that apparently Roger Craig Smith is coming back to voice Sonic. He's not actually going to be leaving as our voice of Sonic as we thought for the last few months. Apparently he's going to be sticking around. So, Pup, Nick, what do you guys think about this?
You go first, Pup.
So my guess is that basically Roger Craig Smith stated that the reason he stepped down from Sonic was because he wanted to, move, have kind of a new life somewhere else, is what I understand of it anyway. So I'm guessing that they probably made some kind of arrangement that he can maybe, do that and voice Sonic at the same time or something like that. But as it is, I'm happy about this. I really like Roger Craig Smith as Sonic. Like, as far as game Sonics go, no, he's not my favorite game Sonic, but he's the only Boom Sonic, and I really loved him as Boom Sonic. Great voice, great actor. I'm happy he's sticking around, and yeah, here's to the future with Roger Craig Smith.
All right.
I'm less happy about it. Like, just putting it bluntly, I think Roger's a fantastic voice actor. But I was ready to move on to somebody else, and I'll be honest, like, this news concerns me because regardless of what Roger said on a podcast, like, I think Tara Reid's reaction, as many Sonic tubers mocked it and everything, like, the fact of the matter is, like, those are friends. Like, voice actors have their inner circles. So talking happened behind the scenes. And whatever Roger put forward, I assumed he was trying to save face, because the fact of the matter is, even if he wasn't voicing Sonic anymore, he's still a professional. Like, he's a veteran in the industry. But this just seems messy to me, honestly. I thought it was super weird when we got that trailer yesterday, and I heard Roger's voice. I'm like, what the hell's happening? And then we get the announcement today. So I don't know how long he's been back with a contract there, but it tells me, like, if anyone had any predictions of, like, a game dropping in June, like, it ain't happening. Like, that we've got localization is one of, like, the last things that happens with video games, but still, this seems a little messy to me. This tells me that Sega wasn't going for a new direction. This tells me that they didn't really have too much of a battle plan. It sounds like things were just up in the air and just kind of a shit show. And I have to wonder, if Roger's back, who else is back? Because there are certainly more behind-the-scenes folks I absolutely don't want back. So I like Roger just fine, but I was ready for a new Sonic. And I'm worried this is signs of we're getting more of the same kind of Sonic that as much as I'll defend Forces for being an okay enough game, like, I don't want another fucking Forces.
Basically, instead of us getting a brave new direction for Sonic that might be fixing some of the stumbling that's been happening over the last decade, we may just be getting this decade again. And I mean,
we've had the same management team since Unleashed. And Pup, I know you like that game just fine, but, like, you can still see a steady consistency between Unleashed and everything that's come since. And I will continue to advocate for, you know what, you guys are a bit too harsh on Unleashed going forward, and everyone's, like, back and forth about each particular game, but I'm still very much of the opinion that we still need a up our levels there. There's magic to be had in every decade of Sonic the Hedgehog. But if he's going to be sticking around, you know what? I don't think it's too much to expect. Like really up their levels, Nintendo levels of quality, and offering something, and still remaining to offer something different from the Mario crowd. I don't think it's too ridiculous to expect Sonic to be a AAA experience once again. But maybe I'm shooting for the stars.
Well, the budgets have certainly not been there in recent years for a lot of the Sonic games, which is why one of the reasons why we're not getting that AAA development. But we've seen from various, even indie studios that, you don't necessarily need a AAA budget to make a game good and fun. You just need a team that has heart, with a clear vision for what they want to do with their character. And clear vision and Sonic have not gone together very well for a while.
No, yeah. So I'm a little bit more pessimistic, but all the same, for Pup and for anybody else who's excited, I mean, good on you guys. I want to be super dead wrong about my worries, but regardless, Roger is a fantastic voice actor, and if he's here, let's embrace it.
I'm perfectly fine seeing Roger back, because seeing a couple of reasons. One, I know that his voice can work well with really good writing, especially since after having read through and catching up with the IDW comics, when Ian Flynn talks about the way he writes that version of Sonic, he writes that version of Sonic with Roger's voice in mind. And we know from the Sonic Boom show specifically that Roger can do things with that Sonic voice that the games have just not been doing well. So I think we've said it before on the show, and I'm going to say it again. If we can get somebody who can write very well with his voice specifically in mind, we can get a good Sonic story that shows his character, his range, doing everything very well within what he's able to do with the character. And it's going to be something that's not going to be a betrayal of the series. Like, give us something that can take itself seriously enough, but not so much so that we're wondering, why are we back in edgy territory again? And Roger's got a great voice for that. He's a Sonic that can be taken seriously when he wants to be. He's just so rarely been given the opportunities to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it comes down to more writing than Roger himself. So let's be blunt, that's what I'm more concerned about. Again, like I care more about gameplay than writing, but doesn't mean I want more corny writing that's talking to us like we're all watching a Nick Jr. show.
I mean, put it this way. If Roger is back in the games, chances are he's probably playing Sonic in Sonic Prime as well. A show that, I mean, it's still going for the Saturday morning cartoon angle as opposed to, say, the anime kind of style that Sonic has previously had. But it sounds like they're moving it in a pretty credible direction with or without Roger. So, I don't know. It sounds like the Sonic series, especially, I feel like the series has kind of reflected what the focus of the games has been in the past. Like, for example, Sonic Boom came out at a time where Sonic games were all about the laughs and the comedy and stuff. And I know it was to tie in with the Sonic Boom game, but there's clearly some kind of thread between that and the main series. Like, you notice after Sonic Boom, the game's writing got closer to Boom. Not quite, but it started to feel a bit more like an emulation. I certainly noticed it in Sonic Forces anyway, and things like Team Sonic Racing. So if Sonic Prime is going for a slightly more serious or slightly more story-driven direction, I think chances are, with or without Roger Craig Smith, the games will follow suit. Hard to say, but I mean, we can't call it just now, but I don't think that Roger Craig Smith coming back or someone else being the actor for Sonic is going to have any bearing on the direction of the franchise. If they're having Roger Craig Smith or not, they're gonna write Sonic a certain way. And what we do know is that Pontac and Graf are not coming back. So,
we have firm confirmation?
Better say
that?
we knew Roger was gone up until this.
True, but I can't see it being like, oh yeah, psych, everybody is sticking around, Like,
well, so
until I know the writing team, I'm not gonna believe anything until we see some hard things one way or the other.
So here's the thing: when we're talking about production for any video game of any kind, your actors for your characters, like all of that stuff, most of that stuff is known as you are entering development, as you are going in and you are building everything. Because you build things, especially with a mascot franchise, you do build things with that character in mind, the way he's going to be voiced, the way he's going to be portrayed. As a result, not having a guarantee on who's going to be the voice actors under normal circumstances would mean, oh, they're keeping everything under wraps to surprise us. But when we find out that people who we had previously thought, this one being Roger, are back on projects, it means one of two things have happened. Either there's an NDA and Roger has been unable to tell people and for some reason has had to say that, no, I'm not on projects anymore because weird NDA shit, which I don't think is the case. And then suddenly, like, NDA's lifted, he's able to say he's on projects again. I don't think that's the case, though. What I think is more likely the case is this decision has been made recently, and we are getting the information within at least a few weeks of that happening. But a few weeks in development time is a drop in the bucket compared to the years that it takes to make a project, which means that this whole time we might not have... We have two issues. One, we might not have a project actually in the works right now because the teams have not been solidified. And two, if Roger is popping back, there's a possibility that this is Sega looking at what the fans are saying on social media, because there's been a lot of outcry on, like, don't take Roger Craig Smith away, don't do this, don't do that. Or the other fun one, which is, okay, cool, if you're going to take everybody away, just please don't take Mike Pollock, is one of the other ones that you get. If that is... I mean,
this is a localized project, though. Like, you have that whole other aspect in there that kind of throws all that for a loop, man. Mm-hmm. Like, we don't know how important the English cast is to Sega of Japan. We obviously do for cartoons and stuff like that, but like we don't know how closely they work with the American side of the team. We know Pontiac and Graf helped the story along, but I mean even then there's like massive mistranslation issues. So I don't know how bad that disconnect is.
If you've seen the beta version of Sonic Force's plot, there is like a beta script on the internet, which is basically the translated version of the Japanese one. It's still got all the narrative nonsense, but it's a much better script. Like, there's also a subbed version of it on YouTube that you can watch, which is literally just the Japanese version subtitled. Mm. And as I say, it's a million times better as far as I'm concerned. Even down to the fact that Sonic calls Infinite a masked prick, which I really like. But like, obviously they can't do that because Western Sonic is for little children. But like, the thing is, like, they didn't have stupid lines of dialogue like, oh, that's why he has no friends and stuff like that. You know, like, it was a bit more dignified. I think kind of Pontac and Graf kind of just took that story and stuck it through the kiddie Saturday morning filter. Overall, I'm just kind of seeing this whole past few months of, is Roger Craig Smith leaving? No, he's not. As just, it's kind of a non-story, you know? Basically, the news is business as usual. And that's just in the voice department. They could still be doing a directional shift for the games. Because you got to think, Sonic Forces, love it or loathe it, it was still a change in direction narratively from games like Sonic Colors. And I think that's another reason why Pontac and Graf's writing suffered, was because they're not for that. They were kind of trying to emulate the shonen anime storytelling of the Sonic Adventure era, and they did it with the Colors writers. You know, like, it can work if they're the right kind of versatile for that, but in this case, I think they proved not to. Either that or conflicting briefs. I don't know.
Better say this is like the Sonic X writers writing a Saturday morning cartoon off of a shonen anime for Sonic. When we got the 4Kids dub of that.
Yeah, so it's a non-story as far as I'm concerned. Like, the storytelling in Sonic games is always shit anyway, with the exception of like Sonic 3 and Knuckles. So like, the best thing they could possibly do is make it silent and have all of the storytelling go on in the background. But like, we're never getting that. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm positive because it's like, I like Roger Craig Smith's voice for Sonic. and that's as far as it really goes, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you'd have less concerns if since you're a bigger fan of their. So I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to be, but like considering I've not seen any new assets, I have. It just sounds like we're getting more of the same. I'm seeing more and more signs of that, and I get worried. I don't think Prime's going to have much to do with the games at all. If I'm honest, like regardless of what they said, I think they're going to be putting them in a completely different setting to disassociate. So it can be like the comics where it's like, well, it's not exactly like going against the canon of the games, but also it's removed enough that we don't actually have to worry about whatever the hell they're making over in Japan.
No,
that's my cynical take on it.
and that's fair. I think we've got Pup seems more hopeful because it doesn't seem to change much in your eyes. Is that right, Pup?
Yeah, it's just a non-story as far as I'm concerned. Like, and I don't mean him coming back. I just mean the whole thing of, is Roger Gunn? No, he's back.
It feels like soap opera drama that never actually like concluded well. It just kind of exists.
Nothing happened. Nothing happened in the long run. And there is no. We have had reports of Pontac and Graf no longer working on the Sonic team, and like there has been an interview with Ken Pontac where he seemed very bitter towards the entire experience. So it's hard to say. I think he said something like Sonic fans are the reason why I'll never go to a convention. So
I listened to that interview though. Like, there's nothing in there that says like the most
but the
it
fact
says.
that he's speaking so openly, bitterly about Sonic fans, I just do not think that. But if we're going to look at the bigger picture, though, there are reports of them leaving. As it stands, anyway, like
Yeah.
I don't think we should take it for granted that the Sonic games are necessarily going to take a massive narrative turn in direction and suddenly get good. No matter who they get in, it's always going to have the Sonic stench. It's always going to have Sega of Japan looking down their noses with their little Sonic Bible saying, "Oh, did Sonic just move his eyebrow?" That's, so...
We gotta mandate that out, boys!
As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to Sonic games, let's just look forward to the levels. Let's just look forward to the gameplay and hope they get it right this time. Have full analog controls as opposed to the 8-point movement that Sonic Forces for some reason has. Hope that, the levels have some platforming and functionality to them. Hope it looks pretty. Hope the soundtrack is good. But don't hope for a good story. You've got the IDW comics, you've got the films, you've got hopefully Sonic Prime. It doesn't matter to me.
I'd be perfectly happy if we got... So they make a fully 3D Sonic game, but they make a single level in it. Just a single level fully 2D. Just so that, like, there's always going to be that one person that goes, oh my god, no, there's 2D in this game, and it's just like, nah, this level's to troll you specifically. Like, if they just magically figured out 3D Sonic without any problems whatsoever. They've got the formula down perfect. They're like, nah, let's put in one 2D level still, just to mess with them.
I wouldn't mind just one 2D level in there to change it up. But I'd prefer if they'd kind of commit to it rather than constantly having the perspective shifting between 2D and 3D Sonic. But like if they had like a fully 3D Sonic game and maybe had special stages that were in 2D or something like that I could fuck with, I could roll with that.
That does kind of get us into the next bit, though. We have a big announcement coming out tomorrow, so we got a little bit of time before now and then. We already know that we're getting some kind of collections. We know that we're getting the Colors HD redo. What predictions do we have with all of this? Like, we've got... What stuff do you think we're going to have announced there? Like, obviously, there's a chance we're going to get an announcement that says what type of stuff is going to be in this collection, if the collection is like 110% confirmed. So I'm just curious what everybody's thoughts are. I've got a few things in the back of my head, and I've got a major hope back there, but I'm still curious.
I think we're going to get the announcements of the Sonic Colors Ultimate and the Sonic Collection. And I think that the Sonic Collection is going to consist of the classics. And I'm kind of hoping half and half that it doesn't. Like, it makes sense that it'd be the classics because Sega literally shat out every classic Sonic game onto whatever console they could back in the day.
That's not what the word literally means.
Like,
No, Nick, you don't understand. There is a single. Okay, look, Nick, you need to understand. There's lore to this.
No,
Yuji Naka literally took off his pants.
no, but think. Look, let's look at like
finish.
the PS2.
It was funny.
Let's look at the PS2 era. There was effectively a shart of classic Sonic collections. You had Sonic Mega Collection, Sonic Mega Collection Plus, Sonic something else collection. I don't fucking know.
There's
then in like the
Gems
Xbox
collection
360,
on the GameCube as well.
yeah,
Oh,
and then
man.
Xbox 360 era, you had the Mega Drive collection, the Genesis collection, Sonic's Mega Drive collection, and stuff like that. And it's odd that the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One have had a complete lack of classic Sonic games on there.
That's not
apart
true.
from PlayStation Now, but PlayStation Now is
No.
shit.
No, that's
Wait, that
not
doesn't
true,
even have
man.
classics. You can't play Sonic 1 on the PlayStation 4.
Yes, you can. Absolutely. There's a Genesis
you-
collection for it.
There is not a Genesis collection for the PlayStation 4.
I promise you there is. You got Google right in front of you, dude.
Okay, PlayStation 4 Genesis collection. Let's take a look.
And
Well, I'll be
boom,
damned.
there it
Okay.
is. It's right there on the PlayStation
Okay,
Store.
okay. Fuck! Okay, well, okay.
This is the
okay.
joy Nick feels when he throws a word and I don't know the definition of it.
Okay, well, look, put it this way.
Oh,
Okay.
God. That is powerful. Oh god, that's my kink.
They've got Genesis classics, but there hasn't been a Sonic collection in a little while, okay?
The Genesis.
No, there
Um,
isn't.
So maybe they'll do that. But what I would actually really like is I can't imagine they're going to go down the route of doing like his Sonic Unleashed and Sonic Generations and stuff, especially when Colors is a separate package. If they did, I would buy it just so I could play Sonic Unleashed on the PlayStation 4 without having to worry about that PlayStation Now lagging, buffering bullshit. Cancel PlayStation Now. Just get backwards compatibility. It's shit. And yeah, like I would buy it just for Unleashed, but I don't think they're going to do it. I don't see how you could fit all of that on one disc. And like, if you had like a download system, imagine the amount of space it would take. I don't know, maybe.
A double layered
But
you could.
layered Blu-ray disc can hold.
Do you really think Sega can afford a double layer Blu-ray disc?
Yes, I do.
I mean, come on, man. Like, if you can release the BioShock collection on the Switch, you can slap the Boost games onto a disc. That's not that hard.
Okay. Well, maybe I'm wrong. I think though, with the fact that Colors is a separate release, I can't imagine it's going to be the Boost thing.
No, I'm with you there.
Um,
Yeah, I'm with you there.
What I would actually be quite interested in is if they found a way to optimize most of the handheld Sonic games, such as like Sonic Rush and stuff like that, for the consoles, and did that in a collection. So you could have like Sonic Advance 1, 2, 3, Sonic Battle, Sonic Rush Adventure, Sonic Colors handheld, Generations handheld. Like have the Sonic handheld collection.
I would
but for
prefer
consoles.
That Sonic
prefer
stench on the
that.
go.
I would prefer that over any kind of classics collection, not because I don't think that the classic games aren't better than those handheld games, but because, let's be honest, availability-wise, how hard is it to play a classic Sonic game these days? How difficult is it?
Another thing though, if they do this classics collection, and it is classics, what's the bet that maybe Sega will finally capitalize on that Whitehead goodness and put the mobile game ports onto the consoles?
That'd be wonderful.
That'd be
God,
something.
that'd be wonderful.
The other thing is though, I should have known this actually. I've got the Genesis Classics collection on Switch, and there is one omission, and I'm really pissed off about it. Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, or Sonic 3 and Knuckles, are not on the Switch version. And apparently the reason is because of copyright conflicts.
Yeah, there's issues with the soundtrack.
I've kind of shot this out there in the past, but I'm going to bring it up again. I would literally rather that they take the route of least resistance and release Sonic 3 and Knuckles as part of a collection, solidify it with a new soundtrack.
Just
rather
get
than
get T-Lopes.
Yeah, literally, you've got T-Lopes, you've got Hyper Potions, you've got some amazing people that have done amazing music for Sonic that is easily up there with the classics. I'm not just... it's easy to say, oh yeah, T. Lopes' Green Hill music is just as good as the original. Yeah, fuck that. What I mean is like Press Garden, Titanic Monarch, and stuff like that. They sound fantastic. If there's anyone that can recapture the magic of Sonic 3 and Knuckles without making it exactly like Sonic 3 and Knuckles, it's T. Lopes.
So, somebody brought this up on. We do have a rumor to address, actually, now that you brought up S3K. Something else, though, that somebody brought up while I was on the tweeting was, and I didn't think about it this way, but this is a good point. But when you consider like all the legal drama that Sega is in with different Sonic brands here, looks like copyright's been stopping them all over the place. It's somebody point out, like, you know, it could be like this weird like stalemate sort of a situation where if they change the soundtrack, then that's admittance to they don't have any legal ownership over the original soundtrack, because I'm sure there's some behind the scenes drama going on there that they're not legally allowed to talk about. And I'm not a lawyer, I don't know anything about that, but that is like kind of a Pender situation where it's like whoever draws first sort of a situation where they can't really use characters that he used, but at the same time he can't really use like the template designs because they're way too similar to Sonic characters. So it's like in this weird legal limbo where you can't really do anything. And I don't know if that's the case with S3K, but I mean, Zippo did drop another leak saying that S3K is coming back. So
In that case, though, what's the worst that could happen? Would it be that Sega can never use that original soundtrack again?
No,
Because if they were to solidify Sonic 3 and Knuckles with its own brand new soundtrack, I mean, you've already got the Sonic and Knuckles soundtrack. You'd literally just have to change half of it.
yeah, no, I'm in no disagreement with you there, but
we just get
that could be the
that old
situation.
we get that old PC version of Sonic 3 with its
No, but
absolutely
have you-
abysmal soundtrack.
No, but have you heard? No, because there was a Sonic 3 beta that came out, and it had chiptune 16-bit versions of some of those PC tracks, and in chiptune form, they sound great.
Yeah. No, there's just something going on that we don't know about, because Sonic 3 Knuckles is still available on Steam, and I'm going to assume it's because whatever contracts were going on there prior to that, that left that one safe and sound. They're just probably not allowed to make any new things. But we don't actually know until they actually come out and say something. We don't know for sure, but I think there's a telling sign when that one band that I forgot what the fuck they're called, but they had like a clear reference to Ice Cap.
Yeah,
their
the
re-release.
album as well was called Blue Virgin, I think, which I just think is
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
It's a good track though. Like, but man, I wish they could come to some kind of agreement. But I've heard it's more to do with the Michael Jackson estate than anything else.
We know I don't know, man. Like nothing actually happened until MJ actually died, so it could be the estate. I don't know for sure though. Either way, I really don't.
It's a giant gray zone.
So,
But we
yeah.
could be wrong, because there is a rumor.
Tangent aside, I do think that the collection is more than likely going to be a classics collection, because I just think anything else would be too ambitious for Sega. And I'm hoping that with it will come the announcement of a brand new Sonic game for 2022, and that's going to be the brand new game. Or the announcement that there will be an announcement of a brand new Sonic game sometime soon. Because I'm just saying, I just completed Sonic Colors recently, and if that is the new 3D Sonic game, they can fuck themselves. That's what I'm saying. For starters, it's not a 3D Sonic game. It's mostly a 2D Sonic game. Fucking grow a pair, Sega, and just make a 3D Sonic game. But, like, that game.
All right,
Like,
pup. I'm gonna stop you for a minute here, because you've been going for a minute, and I love you, but I want to get some of my predictions out here, if that's okay.
yeah, do your thing. I'm just gonna grumble in the corner for a little bit about colors.
All right. So I'm very confused, because like we know a couple things for sure. We know Sega is gonna be at Hard Light. I'm just thinking of the thing. Summer Games. I'm just getting everything mixed up here. But we know a lot of the brands that associate with Sonic are going to be announcing stuff, and I think we should have that should have been expected. They've been quiet for a reason. As cynical as I've sounded with Roger coming back, and again, no offense to Roger in the slightest, like he's an incredibly talented man, especially on Boom. But I'm generally kind of positive, but like ironically enough, I'm positive about everything that is not directly Sonic team related. I think we're gonna get some really cool stuff announced tomorrow. But I do think it's gonna still be more announcements of announcements than anything else. I would assume that they're gonna be like, hey, here's the Colors remaster that y'all know about, and they'll joke about being the worst kept secret on the internet. And yeah, probably a collection too. But I think we'll get like a really quick teaser trailer of the next Sonic game, and then they'll be like, come back on June 23rd for the full final reveal of the game. Because we know that IDW's got some Sonic announcements, but we're not going to be getting it until early June. So I think they're going to start off with this, like give you like kind of a template, like when to expect announcements. And then going forward for the remainder of the year is when we're going to start getting actual proper chunky Sonic news for all the different bits of the brand. So we might not get like a show trailer tomorrow, but we'll maybe have a better idea of when that might be dropping, or like when the trailer might be dropping. It might not even be that expansive. It might just be like a couple of fun little things, like some tie-ins with stuff like that. Like we did get a tease from, I forgot the studio, the guys the Yakuza team that's working on Judgment, and like get your 100 yen coins ready. And a lot of people like Yakuza Sonic crossover. I don't think it's going to be that. I think we'll probably get Sonic the Fighters. Or they're crazy enough to do it. That would be the perfect place to bring back those weird, obscure Japanese Sonic arcade machines, like the popcorn machine or Waku Waku Patrol car. How fucking dope would that be?
That'd be like the second coming of the Sonic Gems collection, where they just go, okay, we're going to release one thing you guys know about, and then all of this other obscure shit, just to make all the hyperfans happy.
Yep, basically. That's my pie in the sky. That'd be like what I'm most excited about, like getting the more obscure Sonic stuff available in some other form. But yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna have a good time tomorrow. I think we're gonna have some fun announcements. I don't think they're gonna give us everything, but it'll be the start of the rollout. It'll let us know, hey, here's some stuff to whet your appetite for right now, but don't worry, the rest of the year we got stuff going on, and in 2022 we're gonna make another big Sonic game for you guys, and I hope you really like it. And I don't know, like, what do you guys think? Because like we're still in this weird gray area when it comes to Zippo, where he's not been proven wrong, but like there's still not quite enough there where I'm gonna full on admit that he's right. But we're getting closer and closer to the point where I'm gonna have to just like eat my own words and just flat out apologize, because I flat out said he was a liar on Twitter because some of his predictions were kind of ridiculous. But
tomorrow will be the day.
It'll be the start potentially. We'll see.
So everybody who's listening, we're making predictions about the Sonic announcement tomorrow. I want you in the comments section, if you're commenting on YouTube, and you can do this on various podcast services as well. What is the predictions on whether or not Nick will have to eat his own shoes?
They're covered in turtle turds now.
Okay, clean them first. Be hygienic about this. You were talking about
so much turtle shit.
You were talking about kinks earlier. Kinks need to be hygienic, Nick.
It's not poopy. Oh god.
Did you already start the process of eating your shoe?
No, I coughed just thinking about the smell of turtle turds again, because I had to clean up so much turds today.
Turtles. Anyway. Wait, so I think. So you guys have both done your prediction stuff, or at least I'm
right.
assuming.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my thoughts, and unfortunately they're really underwhelming. But I'm here to be underwhelmed. My predictions are the announcements. I agree we're probably going to get a Classics collection. I would not be surprised if they tie up all of that, or like Sega decides to tie up all of that legal controversy with a bow, just by starting over and just redoing the soundtrack on the games that they're having issue with.
Wouldn't hate it.
Will we get will we get Whitehead versions of these games? I'm 50-50 on that. I would love to see what Whitehead would do with a redo of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I would love to see a widescreen version of that game running proper and doing the things that we expect with a Whitehead port. I would love that. And I'm 50-50 on whether or not I think that's what we're going to get. But if I had to say one of the things that I would really, really want, we got 30 years of Sonic. That was their whole thing. So they said, "Hey, we got 30 years of Sonic, and let's get excited for the next 30 years." I would not be surprised if they release a collection that doesn't just have the classic games in it, but also contains the adventure titles. Because I'm gonna be perfectly honest, the adventure titles in their HD forms are very, very scuffed. Nightmarishly scuffed if you are used to either the Dreamcast or even the GameCube versions of those games. The texturing on those games is based entirely off of the GameCube port on Adventure 1, and the sound mixing for Adventure 2 is completely and totally barf worthy.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't see a reason why Sega would not be able to go, okay, look, here's your first decade of Sonic, and they'd give us everything leading up to the early adventure titles, and then remaster all of them from the front. Let Whitehead and his team take on 1, 2, and 3, bring those into whatever things they want to bring those into, bring them into Steam, bring them onto consoles if that's where they're going to go, and then if we do get the adventure things. We did get the leak about adventure remakes as a possibility. This would be the way that I would expect Sega to handle that. Not going in and actually remaking those games, but just redoing them with actual polish, which is something that they certainly did not do with the HD versions that we have right now. The HD versions we have right now look and feel very sloppy compared to their originals.
Yeah, they feel like Dolphin emulator stuff.
Yeah,
and it's not fully optimized Dolphin emulator stuff.
Yeah, it feels weird. Bad. The freaking blue/purple bars on Adventure 1. There's no reason for that when even an emulator can widescreen that perfectly fine. So I don't know. I expect, because they are specifically going at this not just as this is Sonic's 30th anniversary, but the advertisement that they threw out there was 30 years of Sonic. I wouldn't be surprised if they give us a generational thing where it gives us an actual 10-year chunk of time remastered with an opportunity to actually fix a lot of issues with those, because there's opportunities that were missed with the HD version of the adventure games. There's legal issues with SN3K, and I recognize this is probably like a really boring prediction to make, but at the same time, If I were in Sega's shoes, that would probably be what I would do. Is I would grab all of my classic fans, all of my adventure fans, and just throw them into one little playpen and go, "We're fixing all your stuff. Let's go."
If they had full control over their entire library, I don't think it'd be unreasonable for them to. And again, with colors coming out, like, we know this is not going to be the case, but I mean, I think it'd be cute to have Classic Era, Adventure Era, Boost Era all in separate collections. I don't think that's unreasonable.
That'd be cool. I'd be game with that.
Or create a giant collection that has all of them in one thing, and you select them in a main menu based on era.
I'd get away with selling it all separately. I mean, you have different fan bases. Like Classic Sonic's got separate packaging from modern Sonic's.
They would make more money that way as well, because they could justify 3 $30 collections. They couldn't justify one $90 collection, But like, what I'm gonna say is this: collections aside, remasters aside, what I want more than anything else is a new Sonic game. And if we're not getting that, I am going to be a bit disappointed because Sonic Forces felt like a holdover. So it's like if there isn't anything coming next year or something, or if there isn't anything in the works and it's just a remaster or something, what the fuck have they been doing all this time, you know? Like,
Yeah. I think we're going to get the announcement of the game. I think we're going to get confirmation of the new game tomorrow. I don't think we're going to get much more than that, though. I think it's going to be like the last end teaser sort of a thing.
yeah, so yeah, like no gameplay or anything, but just like a little announcement trailer. That's all I need.
Might not even be that, though. I'm saying like it might just be like a title reveal or like a silhouette or something like June 23rd.
Do a
around.
Metroid Prime 4 type reveal.
Yeah, I mean, they might be doing that. We might get more. I'd hope so. But either way, they're going to say there's a new Sonic game coming. Don't worry. I promise it's coming. It's not just going to be remasters. I think tomorrow's going to be a lot more of a celebration kind of a thing, just talking about what Sonic means to everybody. Kind of like I did with the big-ass video. And I'd love to be a special guest, Sega. They will not acknowledge me. They will absolutely won't.
It's okay, Nick. We like you.
I appreciate it. My giant love letter to Sega was the one they can't fucking talk about. So.
We like Sonic Adventure 3 too. Wait, no, not that one. S3 and K. That's the one we have legal problems with.
Yeah, I don't know, man, but like we will see because if Zippo has been correct, like 100% correct about this so far, then we already know what's coming. And if that game is to be believed, it is going to be a little bit more open-ended, more focused on the 3D, more adventure style, whatever the hell that even means, because those games are all over the place. I would not hate that, not in the slightest. I would like a shake-up from the Boost style of gameplay. Because, yeah, I'm with you, Pup. Regardless of what the story is, I don't go for Sonic for the story. I mean, I wish they would loosen up a little bit so they could tell braver stories in the comics, like they did with Archie. But I'm there for the gameplay, and while I think Sonic Team is competent, they're not to the point where I religiously want to follow this developer's abilities, because there's certainly other developers I feel are worth paying attention to, just in terms of what they bring to the table and technique and talent. That's the word I was looking for. Because I'll be honest with you, like the current Sonic team management, the way they are, well, if it wasn't Sonic the Hedgehog, I don't know if I'd be paying any kind of attention.
Yeah, if it was just like a random indie dev that could only pop out mediocre games that has a small cult following, that's
basically what they are, man. That's what it is, except they're not indie.
Yeah, it's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. That said, though, speaking of announcements, there is one little announcement we should probably throw in before we are done today.
I mean, we kept this shorter partially because I got to go to work, but also because I mean, this is going to be a useless conversation as of tomorrow, more than likely, right? Like we're just kind of giving our predictions. I like that we have something to talk about in terms of Roger, like our different opinions about that. But man, oh man, I'll talk about Roger again in a second. But I'm going to live stream tomorrow, and I don't know if we talked about whether or not it's going to be on my channel or Sunset City. But regardless of anything else, I think we're going to attempt to do our first live show as soon as that the Sonic Central live stream wraps up. And we would love to have you guys all there because it's going to be our live real reactions. And I don't know about you guys, but like when it comes to E3 and stuff like that, I love having an energetic conversation like immediately afterwards. And I've never had that opportunity with friends of mine that care about Sonic like I do. So I'm really excited to hear Up and Cirrus right after we get all the announcements to see who's happy, who's dismissive, and who's whatever.
We should make a bet as to, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how each of us is going to feel about it.
I think I'm going to be happy.
Like, okay, but like on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy do you think you're gonna be?
7.
I'm gonna say 5.
I feel really weird thinking that I'm going to be the pessimist here. I'm thinking it's a 3 for me.
But we also have our own expectations as far as like what is going to be announced there. So, okay, let's ask this question: what would you guys need to have it be a 10 tomorrow?
New game announcement.
Yeah, but like, what kind of
3D game
game
announcement?
Okay, because if it's a Mania 2, then I know you're just going to be like, okay, that's neat.
It'll be a 6 out of 10 if it's a Mania 2. But, like, it'll be a 10 out of 10. Okay, 9 out of 10 if it's a new 3D game. 10 out of 10 if there's gameplay.
So...
But there won't be.
Do you want to know... Do you want to know what would give me the absolute most excitement?
A reach around?
No. But after the pandemic, maybe. No, what would give me the most excitement, as a fan who actually is here for stories, not just the gameplay.
Idiot.
You know, I've been fiddling with a butter knife this whole time just because it's the thing that I've got lying around from breakfast. And
He's so violent, isn't he?
Take a drink, Cirrus, threaten violence. Take a drink.
Why is he so violent all the time?
just clenched it randomly when he said
did you just say have a drink? I'm literally from England. Let me tell you something. Drink and food knives do not mix over here.
Cirrus, you gotta quit threatening violence. I gotta get going to work, bro. What are you gonna say?
I didn't threaten violence. I just have a butter knife. This is for butter, not
going. Get on with it.
Jesus. Anyway,
do your shit, man. Hurry up. Come on.
God damn it. Turds. Anyway, okay, so for me, the thing
it's your turn to speak.
Swear to God, pup.
Okay, sorry, I'm just fucking with you. Go on, Cirrus.
I think I hate all of my friends.
And furthermore, no, go on. For real.
Anyways, so I think the thing that would make me most excited more than anything is if they announced they were going to be making a fully 3D Sonic game, but specifically if they announced that it was going to be like a Sonic Origins game. Like, this is a game that's going to go back and it's going to show, say, the first interactions with Sonic and Eggman. The first times that they actually start, like, dealing with shit. And potentially even use it as an area to do a reboot, story-wise, for the franchise. Because I'm gonna be honest, as much as I like the Sonic stories, as much as I sit back and I actually do pay attention to what goes on, Sega's never very really clear when they soft reboot their characters and they just keep the same continuity. I'd like to see a course correction, and I think an Origins game would be a good way to do a course correction.
I wouldn't hate any of that. My expectations are not for that. I think they're gonna. I think the rehiring of Roger is a sign of that. But again, localization, everything else I argued about. I don't think we're gonna get that. I'd like to see that if it was a different team managing Sonic. Like, that's when I would like to see it. Since it's still Azuka, since it's still whoever he's putting together, since it's still Sega in general. I don't anticipate that, and I don't know if I really want it because I don't know if I trust those guys to do that. Because I would like more focus on story, but I've learned to temper expectations on that front. But that would definitely get me into a 10 zone where they're like, no, we got some dope new gameplay. It's going to be awesome. And we're starting fresh, and we're going to put some... Give you a reason to care about the story. Like, there's no reason why music's the only good thing in this game. It's also gameplay. It's also story. It's... All of it comes together to make a good game. Like, we know you can make, because all the other elements are there. We've seen the talent everywhere else. But to get me to a 10, it would have to be, yeah, like a 3D game that will be compelling, because we know we're going to get a 3D game either way. It just depends on how good it's going to be. Whenever I get that confirmation, I'm not going to care until I'm playing the game. Like, I'm not going to believe in the game until the controller's in my hands. So that's not going to get me to a 10. What will get me to a 10, and and it might not be tomorrow. Like it might be with IDW, but like here's like the most out there shit that would get me the happiest I could ever be.
Sally.
It would be a competent 3D. Yes, it'd be a competent 3D game. It would be IDW saying that we have the rights to the Freedom Fighters. We're going to use them. I don't even need them in the games. I would like them as background characters, but I don't need them in the games. But you know, I'd like to see them continue on in the comics. Not even if it was just like a story arc.
The advertisement did have a lot of focus on the IDW comics. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and you're probably going to see Tangle and Whisper in the games.
I just thought of it. The Sonic collection is just a collection of digital Sonic comics.
But yeah, I mean, I would expect that kind of stuff there. I think Tangle and Whisper is showing up in the next game. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. And that would make me very happy. But outside of that, holy crap, I just had a brain fart there. Did you guys remember that they showed off Sonic X in that weird trailer?
Yeah,
I noticed that.
they did.
It didn't show any other cartoon at all.
They didn't show Boom. There was no Boom in that. No Boom. I'm pissed. Now that I think of that, I'm pissed.
It was a disaster zone, man. Like you're not gonna see Boom for a minute. I'm sorry.
Yes, Vector the crocodile. Boom.
Blu-ray promotion. Anyway, what I was going to say is, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they finally have rights to stuff there, or maybe they're going to take to that. Or maybe I'm just looking too much into it. But yeah, I would like to see Christian Whitehead on another project. That would get me to a 10 immediately. On the comic front, it would be Freedom Fighters. That'd get me to a 10 immediately. On Sonic Team's front would be a good fucking game. I'd get a 10 immediately. Like a good, competent, like indisputable. This is a good game. Good game.
Just imagine they show the 3D Sonic area, and the first thing you see is Sonic rolls up into a ball to spin dash, and that's it. That's all the trailer is, but it's enough for us to go, oh shit, no boost.
Imagine us just getting excited over Sonic doing a spin dash. Is this where we're really at these days?
He just doesn't do it anymore.
Did Spider-Man just spin a web in the new trailer? Holy shit!
Oh my gosh. Oh goodness gracious. You silly Sallies.
Oh, before we end this though, I just know that the fans are gonna kill me if I don't. We just obligatory B theory reference. Okay, sorry, carry on, Nick.
Thanks. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna get a lot of stuff this year though, and I'm gonna be happy. I might not be at a 10. But I don't think anybody ever is gonna be, and I think we're gonna be pretty happy. I think we're getting a new 2D game. I think we're gonna celebrate the legacy with a collection, and I hope Zippo's right with his leaks. And if that's the case, you know, I'll apologize. But at the same time, I'm just to be this petty little bitch. I'll also be like, well, thanks for ruining all the fun for everybody, you dick. You're either dead wrong or you just ruined the fun. I can't no-win scenario.
There's no way he can win here with you.
So there we have it then. We know what it's going to take to get us to a 10. Cirrus wants a spin dash, I want a game, and Nick wants a Sally Acorn pocket pussy.
You're assuming he doesn't already have one.
Well, that's going to get him to a 10 easily, isn't it? Just not
every day of my life. Every day of my life.
All right, Nick, let's see your Squirrelio face.
All right, guys. I call it my ring face. My B face.
Great. You had an organic B theory reference. That obligatory one was completely unnecessary.
And orgasmic
made out of bee cum.
I feel so pressured these days to do these things for you guys, and it's all for nothing, honestly.
Isn't it always? All right. I'm gonna get going to work though, but I'm really excited to chat with you guys tomorrow. I did move some scheduling around so I could be free to live stream and do a show, and I'm interested to see how well we do with our predictions. I really am, because it's gonna be a fun time, one way or the other.
It'll be a very interesting time.
I'm gonna hate it.
All right, so we'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll do our end intro garbage tomorrow, pimping our stuff. So until then, toot toot, you bee fuckers.
The sun is setting on that fucking joke.